Hi everyone, this is Adrian.
And I'm Carrie.
And for this episode, we are going to do a viewer request who asked us to review Male Le Parfum by Jean Paul Gaultier. This bottle right here.
Sexy bottle.
For gay men. Yes, for gay men.
Well, interesting story behind that, but it's definitely marketed towards mainstream, at least these days it is. It's definitely marketed towards men who want to attract women.
Okay, but it comes with like a gay torso. I mean, sure, like you could say that it's because it's for men that like it should look like a male's torso, but I think straight men would appreciate a female figure with huge bosoms instead.
So, Male Le Parfum is a 2020 release and kind of a reboot on the original, which came from 1995.
Yeah.
The original was done by the perfumer was Francis Kurkdjian,
Okay.
which after a while with Jean Paul Gaultier, he opened his own house, MFK, Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and is pretty famous for some rather pricey and really exquisite perfumes.
Okay.
So this one is kind of a grandchild of that. It's not done by the same perfumer, but it keeps a little bit of the original inspiration, and I do mean a little bit.
Okay, so was the original inspiration including cardamom and iris?
It did have cardamom. It did not have iris. The things that seem to be similar between this one and the original are cardamom, lavender, vanilla, and some type of woody notes.
Oh, okay, so this would have the kind of lipstick smell to it.
This one does, but the old one, the original one, did not.
Oh, okay.
The original one had a lot more kind of a complex oriental spicy blend, and sort of a more powdery feel, I think. Definitely much more sweet. I remember when I first got this one back in 1995, when it came out, it was maybe 95 or 96. I got it and was real enthusiastic about it because the marketing was super hyped on it. And I wore it 2 or 3 times in warm weather, and it was so sweet that I never wore it again, and I gave the bottle away.
I wish you would have
I kind of wish I had kept it now because, now finding an original bottle of it is like super impossible. And the original formulas were before the IFRA regulations that made them kind of cut back on certain few things that probably made the old version of it a lot better. Nonetheless, it's still a good fragrance today. On to this one, though. The notes are cardamom, lavender and iris, vanilla, and then they don't specify, but they say oriental notes and woodsy notes, which probably means that what they've done is they use some synthetic aroma chemicals that have a little bit more projection and staying power rather than some of the original specific notes and stuff that may have either been hard to blend, have gotten really expensive and scarce, or maybe are difficult to work within the new IFRA regulations. For those of you that don't really know what that is, IFRA, it's International Fragrance something or other Association. And what they do, they've gone through in the last about 10 or 15 years and regulated certain aroma chemicals and fragrance chemicals that can sometimes produce either skin irritation or allergic type reactions, or in some cases that can be considered toxic. There weren't huge problems with that, but there were some, and so just to kind of keep perfumery safe for the masses, I guess, they regulated certain things can't be used, some things have to be kind of toned down in certain proportions, like oak moss is hard to use anymore, but we'll go about that on another discussion. This one was a kind of a reboot in 2020, of the original fragrance, trying to beef up the projection and the sort of sophistication of it, tune it a little bit more to what people are looking for these days.
Now,
But
was it because Iris got popular and that's why it had Iris too?
I sort of imagined that Iris fell into this because in the last 5 or so years, Iris has become a big thing and everybody wants something with Iris in it.
Oh,
Not because it particularly belonged in there, although they did a nice job with it.
yeah, yeah. So this is marketed as a sexy fragrance.
Yeah, this is probably the kind of thing that people buy. I mean, given the blatantly sexy bottle, and if you've ever watched the advertising, and you can go on YouTube and find little clips of this, the advertising is super sexy. And whether they're orienting it towards hetero or homosexuals, I don't know. I would say probably the answer to that is yes. Catch everybody in there because it's a pretty sexy ad campaign. And I would say this is an appropriate, like a date night and sort of, sexy fragrance.
Yes, it is. It is. So definitely nighttime fragrance, not
I think so,
daytime.
yeah. This is not really what I would think of as a daytime fragrance.
Yeah. So, who do you think the demographic now this is for? I mean, like, did they try to hit it off with the younger crowd because of the iris, or?
I think that's kind of hard to say because depending on the type of fragrance enthusiast or buyer, it could be anybody from, a 20 something or maybe even a high schooler with some cash to shell out. But, somebody who really likes fragrances and is already into it and becoming a bit of a connoisseur, to somebody that sees the bottle and thinks that, hey, that's sexy. If I put it on, I'll be sexy. Or somebody who has worn this line of fragrance for a long time and has a sort of a place for it in their heart. So, somebody in their 50s or 60s could rock this too. I think
But
it
don't
really
you
is
think
just...
the designs well, there's are you still gonna go with like the male torso, or could they just go with something else, or like
Well,
an updated shape? Because it kind of looks like
I
the
don't know. I
old
think
torsos.
they've committed themselves with this line that
Mm.
everything that comes out is going to have to be in a torso shaped bottle. Even when they've gone way flanker with like the Le Beau
Uh-huh.
thing, then it's this sort of Art Deco chiseled torso with like
Yeah.
a leaf over the bump instead of, it just kind of looking like bulged underwear. I really think this could be worn by people of any age. It's not something that's specific to really young people, but it doesn't exclude people who are up there a bit in years too. It's a nice fragrance. If you didn't see the bottle and just smell the fragrance, a lot of people just really like it, especially women really like the smell of this, thinking of this being on a man.
Wow. Okay. So if you enjoyed this episode, leave a like and subscribe. Till next time. Bye bye.
Bye, thanks.